They heard it before they saw it. A low, unnatural roar rolled through the Conemaugh Valley like thunder, deep, steady, and wrong. People stepped outside with furrowed brows. Some shaded their eyes toward the mountains. A few guessed it was a train off schedule, others a distant landslide. The sky was calm, the air strangely warm. There was no warning. And then it came. A black wave taller than a 3-story house burst from the narrow valley mouth, filled with trees, homes, livestock, telegraph poles, entire rail cars. It wasn't just water. It was debris. It was wreckage. It was death, moving at 40 miles per hour. This was no natural flood. It was May 31st, 1889, and Johnstown, Pennsylvania, a steel town of 30,000, was about to be erased in minutes. Nestled among the Allegheny Mountains, Johnstown had endured plenty of spring floods before. Rainfall had been relentless that month. Rivers bulged, streets puddled, but the townsfolk weren't afraid. Upstream, the South Fork Dam, 12 miles away, had always held. The reservoir above it, Lake Conemaugh, was massive, but the dam's collapse seemed unthinkable. Until it wasn't. The dam, built in the 1850s, had been poorly maintained since its purchase by the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club, a private resort catering to Pittsburgh's elite. Men like Andrew Carnegie and Henry Clay Frick spent their summers there, while local engineers warned of the dam's failings: clogged spillways, patched walls, drainage pipes removed entirely. Their concerns were brushed aside. Nothing had happened yet. At 3:10 p.m., the dam ruptured. 20 million tons of water, enough to fill the Empire State Building hundreds of times, was unleashed in an instant. It dropped into the valley, swallowing the village of South Fork, then slamming into Mineral Point, East Conemaugh, and Woodvale. In Woodvale, a steel mill was swept away and a barbed wire factory ignited, creating a flaming, grinding tide of water and fire. Johnstown had no sirens, no alarms. By the time the wave reached the city, it was nearly 40 feet tall and still accelerating. Horses panicked, people screamed, some tried to flee uphill, others clambered into attics or grabbed loved ones and ran. But the water outran them all. The blast of the flood was like a bomb. It shattered stone buildings, ripped iron bridges from their foundations, and twisted train tracks into knots. One family clung to a floating roof for hours, listening to the wails of others around them being pulled under or crushed by timbers. The dead were not only drowned, they were battered, burned, impaled. At the stone bridge just west of town, thousands of tons of debris caught and piled up: homes, wagons, trees, even animals and people. Then the tangle caught fire. Eyewitnesses described the fire roaring through the night, with trapped survivors still screaming inside. Morning revealed a wasteland. Where once there were neighborhoods, now stood nothing. Streets were buried under 20 feet of wreckage. Bodies were found hanging from trees, lodged inside chimneys, floating miles downstream. Some weren't found until months later, others never were. More than 2,200 lives were lost. Entire bloodlines were erased. Over 700 victims were never identified. The Red Cross, led by Clara Barton, arrived quickly and organized relief. Tent hospitals were erected. Food was distributed. But the damage was beyond healing. Public outrage focused on the wealthy club that owned the dam, but no one was ever held legally responsible. And still, the people of Johnstown rebuilt. They had to. The mountains offered no sympathy. The river made no apologies. And the dead, whose names are etched on weathered gravestones and mass markers, could not be brought back, but their stories could be remembered. Thank you for listening to Road to Ruins. Subscribe for more true stories where systems fail and people pay the price.